Rabbi, you're on mute again.
All right. We're starting over. Two dots. No. So we just did a Maisa that we were supposed to do yesterday that Azi would not let me do it. But so we're at the top of 6 lines, top of Kuf Chaf Beis Amud Aleph. Abba Yudin Ish Tzayden Omar Maisa B'Sova Gechavim Shaholchu B'Derech. They were walking on the way. Uba B'Gechavim V'Amar Chavel Al Yehudi Shaya Imi B'Derech. Right. What was to this a certain Jew who was with me? Shemeis B'Derech B'Krasiv. Right. He was walking. You know, he traveled with me last week and he died and I buried him. They see you Ishto and they married based upon this testimony. The Shuv Maisa B'Kodesh B'Nei Adam also is a Maisa of a group of people. I guess were chained together. Shahayu Mahalchin LaAntuchia. They were going to Antioch, not to Antioch over here in North Chicago, but I guess another place. And a certain guy came, and afterwards he later reported, right, woe to this group of people, they died the Kvartim, and we buried them. And based upon this, their wives were allowed to go ahead and remarry. The Shul Ma'aseh b'Shishi b'Nei Adam is another Ma'aseh with the 60 people. Shayu Mahalchin leKarchum Beitar. They're going to Beitar. Chavim v'Amar Chavel Shishim b'Nei Adam Shayu Mahalchin b'Derech Beitar. Right? Woe to those 60 people who were traveling to Beitar and something happened to them. Shemesu that they died. The Kratim and we buried them. And once again, V'Siyu Es Nishteim. Right? And they were buried.
What's something with groups of? These are all groups of people.
Yeah, but
opposed to one person
that just happened to have been a Maisa Shahaya. We started with one, right? We actually started with one, right?
Yeah.
We started with one, then a group, then up to 60. But either way, the Avik Chavim who was saying it for no other reason, he didn't have no ulterior motive. Right, so he wasn't an ulterior motive. So therefore, in those cases, they mattered the wives to go ahead and remarry.
But in the first case,
case
doing it as a boast in.
Right, it was an ulterior motive, basically used as a threat, so therefore, in such a case, we wouldn't believe it. Fine, now Mishnah. Mishnah says, Me'idin la'or haner, you can testify even if you see, right, the face of the deceased within 3 days, right, with the light of a candle, or the light of the moon, right, masid al pi baskol, or even upon a baskol. Baskol doesn't mean a general baskol. Rather, it's referring to basically that you hear the voice, let's say behind the wall, but you don't see the person who said it. So you hear it, but you can't really recognize who said it. And Ma'isa b'yachad sheman al Rosh Hahar. One time there was a Ma'isa with a person who was standing at the top of the mountain. And someone you heard from the top of the mountain. So and so died in this place. They went up to the mountain and they didn't see anybody there. Nevertheless, they see you as Ishto, and they married off the wife. She was allowed to go ahead and remarry based upon that quote unquote that basko. Also, there's Ma'isa in Salmon. Ani ish ploni ben ish ploni. I am so and so. Nishkani nachash, and a snake just bit me, and he's out in the woods. V'hariani meis, and I'm dying. And they ran to try and save this guy. And they found the guy. They found the body, the person that was bitten by a snake. But he got to the point where they couldn't even recognize his face. But he stated what his name was before they heard him cry out from the woods, right? And they went ahead and they mattered him, his wife, to go ahead and remarry. Zok to Gemara. First wide line. Beis Shammai says we do not allow one to go ahead and remarry if we don't recognize the person who said it or see the person who said it. No, we can't. If we just hear a voice, we don't see who said it. We believe it. So my kamashlan it's a mishnah. So our answer is no. If we find the stam mishnah or brisa that says we do not marry al baskol, you should know that is Beis Shammai. That is the Beis Shammai, and we do not follow it. We follow Beis Hillel. In that case, so they heard the voice from the top of the mountain. They ran up, and they didn't see where whoever it was that made the statement. He disappeared. He booked out. So Gemara says, the Dilma shade happy. Maybe it was some sort of demon. It was not a human, and therefore it shouldn't be believed. So Rav Yehuda Amarav Sharoi Lo Debusadam. He appeared, right? They saw he had the appearance of a person. They just couldn't see the face. So Nami the Chazilay. It says Inunami. So he says there's Shadim also, right? They look like they have an appearance of people, right? So they saw no, there was a shadow also. So They also have shadows. So no, they saw the shadow of a shadow. Maybe they also have shadows of shadows, these demons. Some Rabbi Chanina, no, Amrli Yonasan, they have shadows, but they don't have shadows of shadows. Shadow, I guess when you're standing over the sun, I guess maybe the darkness
is a reflection of you.
Right. So
I have two of those.
no, right.
Shadow of your shadow.
No, there is a shadow of the shadow by humans. It does. It's like double darkness or whatever. The angle of the sun, it doesn't, I guess, reflects, not the
It's like a prism.
like you're right. You're standing over.
That's weird. That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Sometimes you stand. Right.
The sun's reflecting off the sun.
Right. The sun is because it's over you, but it's over you. It doesn't necessarily go in like one area. I don't know. Fine. The Dilma Sarahavi, maybe the voice was of the co-wife, and she yelled it, and then she booked. So Tana debate Rabbi Shmuel, the Shas HaSakana, during Shas HaSakana, or times like this, when you were threatened with a woman to become an aguna, Kaisvin v'naisin afal pishin makiran. We write that the husband died, even though we do not recognize, who's the one who stated it. Fine. Naya Mishnah. Mishnah says, I'm Rabbi Kiva. We saw this Le'abar Shana. When I went to Nahardia to be Ma'abir the Shana, to go ahead and make it a leap year. Masasi Nehemiah Ish Beis Dali. I found Nehemiah Ish Beis Dali, and Amarli told me, Shemati Shem Masina Seisha Ber Israel Alpi Eidechad Ella Yehuda Ben Bab. I heard that they only marry in Eretz Israel. That nobody they don't marry off. Say a woman is married through one witness in Eretz Israel, except for Rabbi Yehuda Ben Bab. And I agreed. And I replied. Rabbi Kiva replied, "Yeah, that is true." Amarli, he told me, "Emor lehem, go ahead and tell those rabbis B'shmi." So tell them my name. Atem yodim shemadina meshubashes begaisa. So you should know that this country is very there's a lot of soldiers here. It's dangerous. I can't go out and testify myself, but you be my messenger and tell them my name. I heard from Gamliel Hazaken. That's not true. Should not just be Rabbi Yehuda ben Baba. It should be used, practiced throughout. As I heard from Rabbi Gamliel Hazaken, that we do allow a woman to remarry based upon the testimony of one aide. And then I came and I reported the matter Lifnei Rabbi Gamliel before Rabbi Gamliel, not Hazaken, but his grandson. Sameach l'dvarai. He was very happy. We found a colleague, right? Somebody else who agrees with Rabbi Yehuda ben Baba that you can be masin al pi eidecha. I mean, the fact that he mentioned it now, he says, in this Rabbi Gamliel, he remembers Shinara Karugim Betal Arza, that there were people who killed in Tel Arza. They said, Rabbi Gamliel, let's just say al pi eidecha. Then the Rabbi Gamliel married off, or had their wives married al pi eidecha. V'huzchu liyos masin al pi eidecha al pi eid, and from there. They ruled that from now on they will have a woman married based upon the testimony of one person, even if it's from an eved, a servant, isha, or a woman, shivcha, or a female maidservant. And Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shua, no, you can't have them married based on one witness. Rabbi Kiva Aimer, no, you can have based upon one kosher witness, but you can't use a woman or an eved or a shivcha or any of those cases. Zok the Gemara.
Wait.
Rabbi Kiva, but wait. How do you say Rabbi Kiva al pi isha lo? You can't have based upon a woman. But Tanya, we learn in the Bryce, Rabbi Kiva, I said the name Rabbi Kiva. Isha names la vigita mikal v'chomer. A woman is believed to bring a get, right, from a kal v'chomer, right? She brings her own get. She says, "Look, I have witnesses. Maybe she shouldn't be believed." No, she's believed. What's the kal v'chomer? Uman nashim she'amru chachamim einem anos lamar meis bala. Now, there's the 5 women we said that are normally not believed to testify that a husband has died. Let's say her co-wife, right? So she is not believed by that. However, namenes la vigita, but she is believed to bring the get from the husband. So a woman who is, let's say, believed to say that her own husband, that she is believed to say her husband died, and it's obvious for that she should be believed to bring a get, a regular woman. So, but we see over here from this Rabbi Kiva holds that only women, that these 5 women, they're the ones who are not believed to testify that a husband died. However, Isha B'Alma, but a regular woman, Nehemna, is believed. So you see Rabbi Kiva holds that a woman is believed to testify that a husband died. The Gemara says, no, like Kash is not a contradiction. Whereas before this whole Maisa with Rabbi Gamliel, where they announced that now, new rule, not just Rabbi and Baba, everywhere you should have Masina Pi-Echad. So that was that case. And before, that was when Rabbi Kiva, the one listed in our Mishnah, was before Rabbi Kiva was Chayzer, and everyone else says, you know what, for now a new rule that we're Masina Pi-Echad based upon Rabbi Gamliel HaZakeh. Zak, the Mishnah, the final Mishnah of the Masechta. Naya Mishnah, Amrullah Maisa, Bnei Levi, Shahoch Letzar Ir Atmarim. So there's a Maisa of the Bnei Levi that they went to Letzar Ir Atmarim. The Chala Echam, one of them got sick. Beviu, Befundak. They said, "Okay, you rest here. We'll finish the trip. We'll come back. We'll pick you up on the way back." So they left him in an inn, in a motel. Chazartam, when they returned, Amru Lepundagis Ayeh Chabereno. So they said to the innkeeper, the lady there, "No, where's our friend?" So she says, Ayeh Chabereno. So she said, "So where's the friend that we left here?" So he said. So the Bislam, she answered them, Mace v'kvoroisa. He died, and I buried him. V'yisiu es ishta. And then they buried, and then she buried him, and then they went ahead and they allowed the wife to be married based upon the testimony of this female innkeeper. So, and a kohenes, or a regular woman, right? Shouldn't she believe she should be no less than a female innkeeper? So, yeah, if she had, she would if she had the facts, right, that we're about to state of this innkeeper, then all women would be believed. And why is that? Why? Because she brought out all of his items, his Sefer Torah, his suitcase, right, all the things he traveled with. So she knew exactly what it was. So now, since she brought proof, like, this is his Sefer Torah, obviously he didn't run away, right? This is his suitcase. This is his passport, right? So because she had those items with her, that's why she should be believed. And that's why you can't draw a Kal V'chomer and say, well, any woman should be believed because you believe this woman. Well, this woman had some sort of evidence with her. Page. So my Kiryusa Dipugundakis. So what was like the original Kal V'chomer that we wanted to say, like, if she's believed, any woman should be believed. So what was so bad about this Pundakis? So Amarav Kahan, the Pundakis, she was Aberes Chavel, right? In other words, and she just mentioned, right, haphazardly, she just sort of mentioned that he died. She wasn't coming to Beis Din to testify.
They asked her. That's not.
So let's see. So she said.
Wait.
And if they wouldn't have asked her, they said anything. Like, dude, that guy.
So I think what I meant to say is any Jew, in other words, any regular Jew, right? Not allowed to have a kohenes, but someone with a regular Jew, someone with good yichus, a regular Jew. So the Gemara says, and she says, Zemakalav is a Tamilo, right? This is his travel, his staff, his Tamilo, his bag, his Zekever, Shekros, and this is great that I buried him. But right? Is also just she mentioned it, by the way, right? This is where I buried him. What do you mean? She just mentioned it. They asked her, "Where's our friend?" And she says, "He's dead." Right? She didn't offer up that information first. She said no. So the answer is cave and the chazisun right? Since that they saw her that she was crying, right? That they saw that. So then they said to her, "Where's our friend?" And then she said, "He died and I buried him." In other words, so she sort of initiated the conversation. And therefore, it wasn't like she came to Beis Din to go ahead and testify, right? She mentioned it, and since she mentioned it without coming to go ahead and testify and use that information to allow the woman to remarry. Therefore, that's why she would potentially be more menace than any other woman.
Who is this Abbas?
This is just a regular Ovid Chachamim, non-Jew, who worked at a motel.
Not Jewish.
A person can testify for a woman that the husband died, for a tarfon. So Amr Lo, B'nai, my son, right? Son, how do you know about this case? Amr, who? Me and this guy, right? We were walking, we were traveling. The road of Achrein Gaius and a certain army start chasing us. And he basically says, "Okay, you run for cover. I'll hold them off." And he went ahead and broke off a branch, right, of an olive tree, right? Just note that, right? Right. So yeah, it wasn't peaceful. Then he battled them off with it. And then when he came back the next day or whatever, I found it later. It says Arya Yashikecha, right? The lion, right? Like a warrior, right? A lion, Shkayach. So I'll tell you this, Arya Shemi. How do you know they call me Arya? Right? They call it in my city. I'm known as Yechanan, Rabbi Yehona's son, Arya, the Mikfar Shichya. I am Yonasan, the son of Rabbi Yehona's son, the Arya, the lion from Kfar Shichi. And the Yamin later on, Chala Mason, he died. He got sick and died. We see Rabbi Tarfon as Isha. Rabbi Tarfon allowed his wife to go ahead and remarry. So Rabbi Tarfon right? Rabbi Tarfon didn't go ahead and question him, right? To make sure, interrogate him. But Tanim in Rabbi Maisa, I assume to say Maisa. Shabali Rabbi Tarfon Eidus Isha. They went to go ahead and testify about the testimony to allow a woman to remarry. So how do you know this matter? How did it come to you? So we're traveling, along the road. And then this army attacked us. And I went ahead and grabbed a branch from a fig tree. Right? And he fought him off. The guys, they returned. They went back. He fought him off. And Amar Tilon, I said to them, and I said, right? It was good that you called me Aryeh, right? How'd you know? They call me my Be'iri, they call me my city. Yechanan ben Yonasan, Aryeh, Mikfar Shichya. They call me Yechanan ben Yonasan, Aryeh from Kfar Shichya. And the Yamin later on, he got sick, and he died. So Amar Lo, Kach Amarti, leave. Right? So what? He told you, Yechanan ben Yonasan from the Kfar Shichi, Aryeh. Right, so he told you that they called him in his town Yechanan, the son of Yonasan from Kfar Shichi, the lion. Now, as he reversed the order of Aryeh and Kfar Shichi. So I'm like, no, this is what I told you. I didn't say that. I said this. He said his name was Yechanan ben Yonasan Aryeh to Kfar Shichi. The Diktuk Allah Shnaim Shoshapamim. He questioned back and forth 2 or 3 times, and the cave as Zvarav and his words always, he wasn't tripped up, right? He passed the test, and then upon that, Rabbi Tarfon allowed his wife to remarry. So what I just didn't understand was the 2 Maisim had the different types of branches, but he was interrogating about the order. But the Gemara, I guess, doesn't ask that, or I don't know. Anyway, so nevertheless, we see that he was interrogated. There was Drisha v'chakira on this testimony of the husband died. So our answer is tonight. It's machlokes tonight. The title in the Rice ain't but Edi Nashim b'Drisha v'chakira. Rabbi Kiva says, Rabbi Kiva, we don't go ahead and check with Drisha v'chakira. A person testifies. We don't go ahead and interrogate and try and trip him up in order to verify the information. Right? Time for nightmare. Baitkin. We do go ahead and do it. And what's the machlokes over here? Can we flee with Rabbi Chanina? When it comes to Dini Mamanos and Nefashos, then we is Drisha Shneimar says Mishpat Echad Yelachem. Is that Mishpat Echad Yelachem? So Matam Amro Dini Mamanos ain't certain Drisha Chakira. So what's the reason why Dini Mamanos would not need? Shalatino Delas b'fnei Leivin. And that is because if every time you go ahead and try to collect your loan, right? Where did the loan take place? Was the sun out? Was this and that? And also say, you don't know the answer. You can't collect your loan. So no one's going to lend money anymore. So we don't want to trip up potential lenders. So therefore, we don't do Drisha Akira when one is trying to collect his money. Umay kamifli. So what's machlokes over here by a woman? So Mar Savar came and the Ika Ksuba Lemishka Kadini Mamanos Dami. One of that says she would be able to collect her Ksuba. Therefore, the case of the husband dying is a money matter, and therefore you require the issue of Gira. And the one held no. Cave the Kosharin and Ashes since basically the testimony to say the husband's dead to allow her to remarry is the Dinei Fashas Dami. So therefore it's like Dinei Fashas, and therefore we do go ahead and darshan the matter, and we'll stop over here to make the siyum until the castings will give us a report as to where and when we make the siyum. Mazel Tov, tomorrow, Ksubis, volume 26.
Are you still doing